powers that be build a royal monster right down on the quay. Row Northumbria, row, boys. Row Northumbria, row. Carpathia, vengeance, celeste. Okay. I like starting with sea shanties now because we're fucking pirates. And like, I guess this is like the difference between me and most of the rest of the YouTube channels is like, I have a plan. My plan is to steal a boat, then go steal a bigger boat, and keep doing that until we have a fucking fleet. You're never going to beat them on land. That's my opinion. Go riverine. Like, get small boats. Become the dread pirates of the Mississippi. If it's not dried up. Well, this is me saying hi to Risky Christy, I guess, because, like, fuck, man. I didn't mean for you to, like, watch all my shit and subscribe to me and shit, but, like, our goal is pretty much the same. Like, we come at it from slightly different places, and it's one of those, like, we shouldn't be on the same side, but we shouldn't be on the same side, but that's exactly why we should be on the same side. Something they would never count on in a million fucking years. To be honest, there's a lot of Black Panthers that I think if you spoke to them, you would find that they talk like me at some level. They might have some hate in their heart for white man too, but like that's, you know, there's a whole bunch of people in this world that are all mad at the exact same people. And I found this out because I dated an anarcho-communist for a year, which I wouldn't recommend, but like I learned a lot. Like, I guess I'm like your fucking S2 division of the fucking resistance movement or whatever. In that way, because, like, I lived with an Antifa tranny for over a year. I saw how she thought. I saw how she worked. I saw her friends. I saw how they worked. It's interesting. It's one of those things like those people are never going to be an issue. That's a boogeyman made up out of nowhere. It's my opinion. Maybe there is like some fucking like militant group of African American gentlemen that would like to take over the U.S. and make some reverse racism paradise. I don't know. From what I see, that's very few and far between. I don't know. Maybe I have a unique view of black men compared to most of you, though. Like, I don't know how much Chrisky watched, but he watched enough to make a joke about me fucking black men, so obviously he watched a bit. I don't really care if men are black or white. It's just hotter when they're black because of the interracial nature of the sex. That's kind of true. Also, like, okay, so you want to get into a woman's head? Let's do that for a minute. What do girls like in bed? Shoo, cat. What, you know, most women I've ever been with and myself like is attention. Attention like a motherfucker. They just think we're fucking hot and gorgeous and like suck all over us. That's the difference between white men and black men when it comes to me. Like, I don't know. It's this weird thing, like, black men like them some chubby white girls. And there's, like, this whole, like, interracial, like, gay power dynamic thing going with it, too, that's just, I don't know. It makes the sex really fucking hot. Notice, I don't date that person. Fuck that person. I'd love to find one I could date, but like, I don't know. Guys and I tend not to get along that well. At least not long term. I like to be free and independent and do whatever the fuck I want and have another girlfriend. And, most guys have issues with some part of that. Actually, they don't have any issues at all with the other girlfriend thing. It's just, I don't know. I don't like having multiple partners and whatever. And like when I date long term, I like to date trans women. Ladyboy, lesbian, militia, resistance, fighting unit, whatever. I don't know. I'm ridiculous. I know I'm ridiculous. That's sort of the point of this. Is basically like, this whole place is ridiculous. Risky Christy, to some extent, is ridiculous. Hey, 10 years ago, I would have said Risky Christy was most definitely a Fed. In today's day and age, I questioned it at first because, to be honest, man, anyone who wears a fucking hockey mask and talks on the internet about militia shit, people should probably question if I'm a Fed or not, too. And the thing you should know is, I totally am a Fed. That's the trick here. Oh, yeah. I'm the Fed who's actively smoking weed and saying shit on camera that you shouldn't say on camera. Probably. I don't know. Half of my thing is, I've seen the Feds up close and personal. I used to do some shit where I dealt with them on a regular basis. I was never a Fed. I never had a badge. I never even had a laminate. I accepted big bags of cash to be the dude who lived in a trash duffel ghillie suit thing for a long time to go and get evidence. And no one was willing to do that, except unless you paid them a whole bunch of money. And I was the only one willing to do it for a whole bunch of money. And you're like, how'd you get that job? Okay. I went to school for archaeology, right? And I went to Africa doing some shit, and then went to Jordan doing some shit. And in the hotel bar in Jordan, I met people that changed my life. I got several jobs because of it, and it was a very interesting few years, basically. And it was one of those that, like, I was sitting in a bar, and they were sitting in a bar, and I was talking loud, because I talk loud, and the guy came up and was like, hey, where the fuck are you from? I was like, Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's like, holy fuck, me too. Like, really? What streets? And then we had like a 3-hour conversation or whatever, and then it turned out that they needed someone who had a skill set or two that I had. And, that was fun. It was an interesting way to make a lot of money. But at the same time, because of doing that, I've met many FBI agents. I've met many CIA agents. I've met many CID agents. Yeah, I'm not impressed. It's one of those, like, I'm not breaking the law. Like, I may occasionally speed, cut someone off in traffic. Who doesn't do that? I guess normal people. I'm vaping weed. All my guns are legal. I don't know. Man, I really liked, if you're still listening, Risky, like, I really liked the exchange I had with you. Like, it's hard to know in this world who's real and who's not. And the conversation that I had with Risky Christy, it's a real motherfucker. Like, I already had pretty much come to the conclusion that he was not a Fed. Or if he is, he's like the best one ever again. Like, there's some of that with both of us. Either they're going to make movies about me and him, or we're not Feds. It would be cool to have the Risky Ray movie. I don't know what that would even fucking look like. Half of my thing is that I'm kind of like a tactical teacher that is sort of handicapped, but yet at the same time has lived through shit that most people wouldn't have fucking walked away from. I don't know. So there's like some of that like, that's this channel in a nutshell. I really just like kind of like smoking and talking shit and whatever. And if you learn some shit along the way, that's cool. And I try to actually break out and do episodes that are like, hey, I built this gun and I did it this way and this is why. I think that's cool. I should probably do more videos other than looking up at a fucking ceiling fan, but I like the ceiling fan. I like the ceiling fan because it's like we're hanging out with, you watch the start of Apocalypse Now, Willard is in a hotel room and he's staring up at a fucking ceiling fan. Cheers. When you do real shit, you end up sitting in fucking hotel rooms for weeks on end, fucking staring at fucking ceiling fans, waiting to get to the word to go do the thing that you want to go do. I think that's like the message of that fucking movie. Crazy part, Christy, if you're still listening, you were talking about liking Red Dawn. I think everyone in the gun community who's worth talking to loves the movie Red Dawn. The movie Red Dawn was written and directed and just brought into being, basically, by John Milius. John Milius wrote Apocalypse Now. He wrote Conan, too. Conan the Barbarian, which basically... when I was losing weight, I watched Conan like every fucking day. Because I was grinding on the wheel of pain. That's half of this channel, man, is I used to be 630 pounds... And I decided I was going to live and that I was a girl and that I was everything that you see in this channel. Fuck it. Fuck them all. Like, fuck people's expectations and fuck whatever the establishment thinks about the enemy, basically. Like, that's what you and I are. We are their enemy. 110%. There's no bones about that. Like, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Constitution and liberty by law. If we don't have that, I'm an infantryman. As sucky of one as I may be. And this is some shit where, like, I love hearing from people that are like, you're fat and transgender, you're gonna die. Okay, well, I'll die a fucking hero. How about you? I'm planning on dying. Everybody thinks trans people are suicidal anyway. It's one of those things, like, this is why the Musashi shit is important. It's like, if you don't accept the inevitability of death, you don't accept that you are already dead going into some sort of battle, especially one against the federal government. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to do that in any other way. So, I kind of figure I'm going to have a good time until they won't let me have a good time anymore. I really didn't start doing crazy shit on this channel until I started seeing more and more convincing evidence that Joe Biden had taken money from our enemies. That's a red line for me. As far as I'm concerned, Joe Biden and the entire Democratic Party should be hung. They should be hung for treason and have their fucking bodies put on display in the National Mall. And the reason I say that is because they accept money from our fucking enemies to do things here that are disadvantageous to us in a time of war. That is treason by its very definition. And this is one of those, like, separate the men from the boys times, I guess, because, like, how many more fucking treason things do we have to fucking watch? How many more fucking, like, voter fucking fraud things do we have to watch? I don't know what we do. I don't think the answer is violence. But at the same time, like, something's got to give, man. I hate to say it, but I think, like, Chrisky and I are some of the only people on YouTube really speaking up in the way that should be spoken up right now. He's getting a lot more attention than I am, although he said he knew several people that watched my shit. So, hi, lurkers. Who are you? You like me? If you don't like me and watch me for intel, that's cool. You're not going to learn anything here. Like, you're going to learn what I do. You're trying to learn how transgender people think. Like, I'm not sure that I'm one you should be studying for that, bub. Like, if there's any such thing as, like, the alpha tranny or something like that, I think I'm it. And most of that's just because I don't fucking do the rest of the shit that those people do. Like, I guess there's Blair White. I like Blair White. First off, Blair White's fucking hot as shit, and I am a lesbian hoe bag, and I would... I watched Blair White for several fucking years wanting to just, like... I'm not going to say exactly what I would like to do to Blair White, but it involves a Hitachi magic wand and a bucket of lube. Really hot. Only thing with her is, like, she says she doesn't do anal. And, like, not to put a too fine a point on it, but if you don't have a vagina, what do you do? I guess a legit question. Anyway, the whole point of this video was really that Chrisky and I talked, and that he's awesome. Which, I kind of got the fucking gist that he was awesome. Honestly, like, he's a paratrooper. Like, I like paratroopers, mainly because they have carefree, vigorous sex with me on occasion. Not as much as Marines, though. I always liked paratroopers because of World War II. Like, I don't know how you could not watch all of the shit from World War II and not have the takeaway from it be that the 101st and 82nd Airborne were like the super studs of the century. It's New Year's Eve and they're firing off 4th of July fireworks. I just fucked that all up. That's how I think about fireworks, though. That's a 4th of July thing, man. You shouldn't ruin New Year's Eve. It's fucked up, isn't it? But it is kind of true, though. Like, I like 4th of July, man. It's one of my favorite holidays. Anyway, yeah, Risky's cool. Paratroopers, that's what we're on. The 82nd is a cool unit for a lot of reasons, but, like, first off, they're like the All-American Division, which is like, they're the OG paratroopers. They're the first ones, if I remember right. That's why they're the All-American, is because they literally picked the best of the best of the best for the first unit or whatever. They got the first cut. At least that's how I understood their name to be. I was always more of a fan of the 101st because I fucking watched Band of Brothers like a fucking retard. And, like, so, Risky, I'm sure you're watching still. I used to have a wall of my fucking war room that was a complete World War II paratroopers kit and equipment from D-Day set up for an M1 carbine with folding stock. Just because I thought it was fucking cool. And yes, I spent way too much money on that shit. And then later on, I set all that shit out at a gun show. I sold off so much fucking shit. I made so much money selling off old World War II junk at a gun show once. And I don't regret any of that shit. Like, Old gear is cool. Old guns are cool. Have select bits of it. Like, where's my kit? That's in the other room. I got a rigger pouch. I have a stash of these that are from at the front if you need one. At the front makes reproduction World War II gear. In World War II, they made these to go on the pistol belt, and they held M1 carbine mag pouches or M1 clips. They're also handy for frags or pretty much anything that you could fit in like a 4x5 pouch. It's, Anyway, so I'm not saying don't have like select pieces of old gear or whatever, but like it's stupid to have all that shit. Anyway, I had a fascination with Airborne because it's like they carried all the cool guy kit basically. Like if you look at the stuff people obsess over now, they all look at special forces. In World War II, there were special forces, but there really weren't special forces. There was the First Special Service Force and the OSS, but the ones that I looked at the most, that I thought were the coolest, were the Pathfinders. And I like the whole idea of jumping into Normandy before everybody else in the dark, not even knowing if you're fucking over France or over the English Channel or some shit. Maybe you went the wrong direction. It's like balls. And like that's, if there's anything that I think of when I see like your channel and mine, is we're like the Pathfinders for everyone that is to come. There's going to be more people waking up to this shit and saying this shit out in the open because they think they can. It's going to get to the point where they can't control it. At least that's my hope. In a whole world of people afraid to be a fucking, like, tall nail, I'm a fucking railroad spike. Hit me if you dare. I'm going to break your fucking hammer. I guess that's why I respect Chrisky so much, because, like, he's the only other person who's saying anything like what I'm saying with guns on the internet. There's maybe a couple others that I don't know about or some shit, but, like, it's a very small crowd of people that, like, are willing to open up their mouth about this shit in the gun community. It's kind of sad. It's, I've been saying this for a while, that basically all the rest of y'all are hobbits and I'm a wizard. It's not really the right metaphor. All the rest of y'all are sheep, and Christy is a fucking shepherd. I'm a wolf. I'm a completely different animal. But this is why Christy and I are like, I don't know, seeing each other eye to eye, I think, is because while we're completely different, we ain't the fucking sheep. I don't know, maybe wolf isn't the right metaphor, but I ain't a fucking sheepdog. In the metaphor of sheep, sheepdogs, and wolves, I am like a grizzly bear sitting off in the woods going, if you fuck with me, I will kill all of your sheeps. All of them. Why don't you just leave me alone? Oh. They don't seem to want to leave the bear alone, though. They like to pick a fight. Like, this is, I've been watching The Wind and the Lion a lot, which is a movie you should watch. It's written and directed by John Milius, again, Red Dawn. And I think it was 1975, stars Sean Connery. And you should watch that movie, and you should pay attention to the geopolitics of the film. The story's good. Everything else is good. But pay attention to the American politics shown, the European politics shown. All of that shit, man. It's the way the world is. I keep watching it because it's like, we are in this big chess game of major players. Or some shit. That isn't why I was talking about that movie and why you should watch it, but the reason why you should watch it is because of the conversation in the whole movie, basically, about great men. And that great men lead lives of loneliness, only interrupted by brief conversations with other great men, some of whom are your enemies. That is how I felt talking to you on Instagram. It was very nice to meet you, man. I get why you don't want to make a video endorsing my shit, but you should someday. You should definitely do it. I would love to see the fallout from that shit. Like, I don't know. My whole thing is that we should have a militia, and we should have a very strong militia that keeps us from being invaded by foreign powers or taken over by fucking rich fuckheads that think they own the government. I think that's pretty much why Risky and I are on the same fucking side, despite being on complete and total opposite sides probably on many things. Anyway, it was fun talking to you, man. I'll see you later.